Well, hello, everybody. I hope everybody is getting ready to have a fantastic Christmas in the next few days. I know Carter is. He's gotten caught, and so he'll be showing up when he gets able to get back in front of his computer. Anyway, uh, we're here on Spark Live. This is our monthly Q&A. We've got some questions that have come up, so I'm just going to kind of dig in. This is normally when I visit with Carter a few minutes and have a little fun. Those of you that are here, hey, give us a thumbs up, a like, a love. That would be awesome. And I'm just gonna dig in here. So one of the questions that I recently got, and I thought it was a really interesting question, actually. Um, was what should I be looking at the end of the year to really kind of see if my marketing, if what I'm doing is the right thing, if am I on the right path, those kind of things. So one of the things that I want to tell you, I want you guys to think back to 2019 when the world was kind of normal, before the pandemic, before the inflation, before all this other stuff. In 2019 was a very different year than 2020 and 2021 and 22 for that matter. But it's more like 22 than it is 20 and 21. So what I'm telling people is this: go back and pull your numbers from 2019 as a comparative. So that's the number that you want to compare this year's numbers to in 2022. Now, let me just tell you why for a minute. So, because 2019 was more normal, when we went into 2020 and the pandemic happened, everybody threw their hands up and we thought that the world was going to end. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. The world was certainly going to be different. We were wearing masks, staying at home, not doing anything. The vaccines hadn't come out. We didn't really know, what COVID was going to do. Didn't know what we were all really dealing with, and so it was a difficult situation going in. And then all of a sudden, people who were normally at their offices were working out of their homes. We had kids at home. Kids were being homeschooled. They were going through all that. So we had parents that were trying to work from home, do kids from home, all that stuff. They couldn't travel anywhere because, well, you weren't supposed to. You didn't have any place to go. I mean, there was no reason to buy your kids school clothes and do all the normal stuff you did. So what did you do? Well, most people sat at home and said, well, I'm sitting here and I need to make some changes. That plumbing fixture I need to have changed out. So they called a plumber and spent their money there. They spent their money on getting their heating sources, whether it's a gas fireplace, wood burning fireplace, stove, whatever. Some of them went so much to get those things installed to replace things that weren't working because they couldn't spend their money anywhere else. Um, I went through a renovation at our home during that time, and the guy that did our renovation said, "Man, he is so busy he can't even keep up." Well, guess what? That kind of backed off this year because it was a more normal year because people were now traveling, kids going back in school, all that kind of stuff. So you had these 2 years in 20 and 21 that a lot of the income that people were getting, and remember, the government gave them some income, and companies got the PPP loan, and SBA and some of those things also got some additional income. So you have to understand there was a different state of mind, if you will, in 20 and 21. So come along, 22, and then all of a sudden, the media hops on board and it's inflation and things are going crazy and the government gave out too much money and yada, yada, yada. And I'm not going to get into all the financial stuff that was there, but it changed the mindset of your consumer. So, when the mindset of the consumer changes, then all of a sudden their behavior changes. So that mindset leads behavior. So I just want to make sure that when you are comparing your numbers, if you're comparing your numbers this year to 21 and 22, you're probably not making as much, especially on the bigger ticket items. But if you go back and compare your numbers to 2019, that's really a more comparable spot, if you will. So hopefully that helps with that. And when I'm talking about comparing numbers, what numbers am I talking about? Well, you want to see what revenue you brought in. You absolutely want to see your sales. All the yeah. I know that there are um, KPIs that every business should have, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should and shouldn't have. I'm just saying whatever KPI you do have, those are the numbers that you need to compare. So hey, Carter, I see you're here. You made it,
I
buddy.
made it. Sorry I'm running late. Traffic and holiday stuff. I'm not sure what the heck was going on out there, but struggling to get back and I couldn't even call you. The cell phone trouble is just weird.
Well, we're in Nashville, Tennessee, and you know how that is when you're in the South and any kind of a storm comes in. I mean, let's face it, everybody thinks the world is ending. They got to go get their French toast stuff, which, if y'all don't know that, that's eggs, bread, and milk.
Yep.
My wife was at the grocery store at 7 o'clock this morning, came back and said, "There is no milk at Kroger, none, zero." I had to laugh. But anyway, those are the things that I just talking about. One of the questions that I recently got was, what do I do at the end of the year? How do I figure out if my marketing's working or not? So I really wanted to tell them if they're comparing numbers to other years, to go back to 2019, because that's going to be a much more comparable year than 20 and 21, because
Yeah,
we
that
just
was a bubble. That was a
pandemic.
very exactly. Yeah. And this year, could be a little bit strange too, just because of inflation concerns and sentiment, consumer sentiment being a little more conservative. We're seeing that in retail right now too. So yeah,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So it's really all over the place. And I didn't put my questions in this week. I just thought we would just kind of bring whatever we're getting. I mean, I've had 5 or 6 calls over the last 2 weeks, so I've got a number of things that people have asked me. But I know you've had some calls as well, just to see what was going on in your world.
Yeah, I actually had a great conversation the other day with someone who said, I remember you taught me that password. It was like some kind of trick or something that you had for like doing passwords, and um, I can't remember what it was. And I said, "Oh yeah, I can tell you what it is, no problem." So I quickly just kind of gave him the rundown of how to use it. So I thought maybe I'd just walk people through how to do that. Just here, is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the things I want to talk about is a call that I got, that one of our clients got defrauded by somebody who said they were Google.
Hmm.
So why don't you get that set up, and I'll talk about that and why passwords are so important. How's
Yeah,
that?
cool.
Okay.
I'll get my screen all set up for that.
All right. That'd be fantastic. So we have a long term client, who reads everything that we send out, and we've sent out several things, this year about some of the clever ways that fraudsters, uh, quite honestly, are getting your money. So we always want our clients to be very aware of what's going on. Well, this particular client called, and she got a call from somebody saying that they were from Google, and that they saw that they had a duplicate listing, which we've been working on getting down. So now I'm wondering if this is the company or whoever is along with this actually did the duplicate listing. I can't prove anything, but I'm wondering, hmm, interesting. They get a duplicate listing out of nowhere. I mean, we've not had any kind of issue for 8 years. And all of a sudden, this listing pops up. So then she gets a call from a company that claims they're Google, that sees the duplicate listing, that they can get rid of this duplicate listing, but she's going to have to pay a little bit of money to do so. So she gave him her credit card and called to see basically if the duplicate listing was gone. And I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Hold the phone. Uh, Google's not ever going to ask you for a credit card, ever. Apple's not going to ask you for a credit card. Nobody's going to call you and ask you for a credit card. If anybody calls you and asks you for a credit card, don't give them a credit card. If you initiate it, it's different. But if they initiate, don't give them a credit card. So immediately I said, let me make a couple of calls. I want to double check something. We were able to do that, get back with her, and she got a hold of her bank and got that canceled ASAP and got a new card on the way. So my point is, this is the time of year. I don't care. I don't know why it is. I think it's because it's Christmas time and we're all stressed and we're trying to get 5,000 billion things done and gifts, bought and sent and this and that. Oh, I just realized I gave you a really big A in your name. God, sorry. That just made me laugh. Anyway, back to this. So it's really, really important not to do that and not to fall for these frauds. And I would much rather you guys pick up the phone. If you're not a client of ours, you can get me, Taylor at sparkmarketer.com, Carter at sparkmarketer.com. Email us before you give anybody a credit card. That's the main thing. And if somebody says, well, as soon as we hang up the phone, the chance is gone, I guarantee you that's a scam. Yeah, that's just a scam. So just don't fall for that. I think that's really, really important to know. The second thing is to know that one of the biggest places that people fall for fraud is through emails. And so we sent something out just recently where we had another client that got an email supposedly from me. And if you look at it, it says SPAC marketer, not Spark marketer. It didn't have the R, but it was a really good email. And it looked like it was me. I mean,
it pretty legit.
Yeah, very legit. We just sent that out this last week. If you didn't get it, go back in your email, find the email, and look at it. These are things you must absolutely understand. Check the email where something is coming from. And if it's somebody you know or somebody you do business with and you think, they've never asked that of me, pick up the phone and call us. Let us know. Email me. I'll call you back. We want to be safe than sorry. What Carter's going to go over is the number one way people get into your stuff is through passwords, not just passwords for email, though they get in your email, then a lot of other things happen. But passwords are really, really important to be secured and to have a secured formula. Now, I'm going to say something. I like this formula. I no longer use this formula. I use LastPass. What is it? RoboForm's another one. There's another one too, and I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, OnePass. I mean, there's a lot of different ones.
Is one Jonathan uses.
Yeah, that's a Mac only product, but LastPass and RoboForm work on either platform. Yeah, that's true. This is a platform that a formula that we used just at the beginning of our business because we needed to make absolutely sure that our employees were creating secure passwords for systems that they accessed, especially if those systems contained sensitive client information. So that was just a requirement for working at Spark Marketer, was that you learn this password formula, adapt it, to make it personal for you, and then never veer from it. So the idea of this password formula is to give you a secure password for every single website that you use that's different for every website. So You're going to use this formula to create a unique password for the site that you're on, and never use that password ever again for any other website, because of the formula making it unique for that particular site. And you never have to remember a password if you remember your formula, because this formula will tell you what the password for the site should be if you follow the password formula. So, okay, so I will say that there are other ways now to create even better and more secure passwords and not have to remember those tools like LastPass, and I'll go over those at the end. But this is still a really good idea, so that if you don't have, if your employees are logging into systems and things like that, you can teach them this formula, and at least they'll create passwords that are, more in line with, like, if you see those password strength formula or password strength bars that tell you how strong your password is, this pretty reliably will get you up into like 80s and 90% secure. So for most websites, this is plenty. But the idea is that you want to use symbols. So that would be, symbols. Any symbols work most of the time. You want to use uppercase letters, and you want to use lowercase letters. Oops, I had caps on. You want to use lowercase letters, and then you also want to use numbers. So some combination of all of those things need to be present in your password. So here's what we do. The formula is this. You choose two symbols that you want to use in your password. Okay, just two symbols that are going to be the ones that you go to every single time. They could be, you could bookmark them like this. Use those two symbols. You could use a $sign and a %sign, whatever symbols you want to use. And we'll just leave the $sign and the %sign here. Okay, you're going to use one at the beginning of your password and one at the end of your password. And in the middle, you're going to look up at the website that you're on and use some characters from that particular website domain. So up here, it's a little bit hard to see, I know, if you're on especially if you're on mobile, but we've got the URL that I'm on and the address bar of the website. Now, there's a whole lot of gobbledygook here. We don't want any of that. We're just primarily concerned with what comes right before what we call the top level domain, which is the .com or the .net or the .org or the app, or whatever it may be for that particular site. So it's just this part here that is, in this case, Google. Okay, we don't want anything in the beginning here, just that part that's just to the left of the .com or the top level domain. That's the actual domain address that you're using. So in this case, it's Google. So we want two letters from that, and you're going to decide for your password formula. Are you going to use, you're going to count in 1, 2, and then use the next two letters? Are you going to take the last two letters? Are you going to take the first and the last letter? You get to decide what letters you're going to take. But once you've decided on that formula, you're going to use it that way for every single site. Okay, so for this case, let's skip the first one and use the next two, which is OO. Okay, so right here in the middle, we're going to use OO. Now I need to use lowercase and uppercase letters. So the first letter is always going to be capitalized. The second letter is always going to be lowercase. Okay, now we need a number, and it's a good idea to use 4 numbers. Okay, just think of it like your personal password formula PIN. Now, don't use your bank PIN for this. Okay, please don't use your bank PIN for this. But choose 4 numbers that you're always going to use for this password formula, and then put them in there. And just for kicks, we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, be a little more original than that. Come up with a.
Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4 though.
Okay, so I'll use 3, 2, 1. 4, 2, 1, 3. All right.
There you go.
Okay, so that's my for this example, that's my password formula PIN. All right. So now I've got 4 numbers in there, but I need 2 more letters, and we've already used an uppercase and a lowercase. I'm going to use another uppercase and lowercase, but how do I figure out what letters I'm going to use? Well, we call this the letter inflation part of the formula. Okay, so you're going to take these two letters that you've already entered and you're going to inflate them by some amount of a number. So let's say 3. Okay, so an O, if I count 3 more positions in the alphabet, an O would become PQR, right? So the next letter would be, and then an O again would be PQR. So we have a little bit of repetitiveness here, but let's just say this was an E. Then this one would be FGH, right? Because I'm counting 3 positions in the alphabet. So now I've got 2 unique letters that are just based on the first 2 letters in the password. I'll go back to this just so that everybody has clarity, right? We're using the OO and up here in Google to get the capital O, the lowercase o. Then we're inflating those by 3 to get PQR and then the lowercase r as well. So now I've got a password that has 2 symbols. It has uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and randomized upper and lowercase. Not really randomized, but based on a formula that somebody would have to know in order to understand why that's even there. So there's a lot of good randomization in this password, which is one of the keys to a strong password. And it's also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 characters in the password. And most that's still on the what I would consider the low side of the most secure passwords, but it's still better than most people do with 6 or 8 characters. And because it has all of the types of characters on the keyboard in this, it actually passes most security checks on passwords with flying colors. So it's a great way of getting a secure password. And remember the formula. And all the formula is you commit 2 symbols to memory, you commit a 4-digit PIN to memory, and then you decide which characters you're going to use from the password. In this case, the second and third letter, and then what is your inflation number? You're going to inflate those characters by how many positions. So once you decide those 4 things, the special symbols, what position of the letters you're going to use, and what your numbers are, and what your inflation formula is, then you've got everything you need to create a unique password for every single site that you use on the web, and to remember the password for every single site on the web. So it really is a great tool. I can be anywhere, for passwords that I've used this way or that I've created this way. I can be anywhere on any computer, not have any access to, I don't have to have stuff written down and kept on a notepad or in a spiral notebook next to my computer, which is incredibly insecure. I don't have to have notes on my phone. I don't have to remember, or use the same password over and over and over again. This is completely unique. And it gets rid of things like this that I see still to this day all the time. Something like that. And that's just not secure. And I see it way too often. So if you think this is useful, then make sure you watch this video. You can share it with other people too if they think it might be, if it's something that other people need. Share it with your employees. Like I said, we have a requirement that everybody at least uses a password that's this secure and unique. But I will just show you while I'm on the screen. LastPass has this generate secure password method, and I can choose uppercase, lowercase, numbers and symbols, and how many characters I want. And these days, I've been leaving it set on 20. And then it gives me a password that's something like this. Now, this is truly randomized. There's no guessing that. There's just not. And it's completely unique for every single site. And because I saved this password in a secure program like LastPass, I don't need to remember it. And LastPass works on my laptop, it works on my phone, it works on my iPad, it works on my desktop computer. I have it everywhere, and I can log into it securely and access it here. And that is actually even more secure than the password formula. But still, just for here we go back to that.
So
Uh,
one of the things I want to add to this, if you like this formula, but you say, I want to make it a little bit more secure, one of the very first things you can do is add four more numbers.
that's true.
Add more numbers, you know, add a different symbol, add a question mark on either end.
Just adding
Yeah.
three symbols, just tripling the symbols on either end makes it more secure.
Yeah. So, anything that you can add and those kind of things, you just have to be careful that, don't add part of your social security number. Don't add, numbers that people have access to. Your phone number. Don't do your phone number. Don't do, there are things like that are big giveaways that people who hack go in first and find all the numbers associated with you, and that's what they use. So don't do that. Find a series of numbers that has no association with you when you put them in there.
So you might be wondering why your marketing company wants you to learn a secure password formula. Like, we're not a security or IT company. We're a web marketing company. Why do we care about this? And the reason is simple, because when we ask you for when we're working with your website and we need to get to your registrar where your domain is registered, like GoDaddy or whatever, and you give it to us and your password is, I'm using this because I just see it all the time. Um, when you give us that, what it means is that somebody else is going to eventually guess that, and they're going to steal your domain name. And that creates a lot of work for me and for Fred and for other people on our team, or your account manager, to try to see if we can get your domain name back from the guy who stole it because he guessed your password. And yes, it's happened. So the reason I'm so interested in teaching you a secure password formula is because I'm really just lazy and I don't like doing all that work every time somebody gets their domain name stolen. So please do me a favor and
Yeah. Give Carter an early Christmas gift. Go
yes,
change all your passwords.
please.
No, it's really it is very, very important, and we try to remind people and let people know every year that these are very simple things that you can do. LastPass, RoboForm, I've used them both. I like them both. LastPass we has a share deal, so we use that now because I can actually share a domain and password with somebody, but they don't ever see it. They see the domain, but they don't ever see the password that's associated with it. So I don't have to go change passwords. So I'm telling you, when you have people that are in your Facebook accounts and all that kind of stuff, and then every time they leave, you got to go make those changes, change passwords, do this, do that. It is a pain in the rear. So, we went to this, and that's why we're all in LastPass now. And because of that particular feature is a really, really good feature, and I'm really, really happy with that. So, there's reasons that we do the things we do, and there's reasons that we recommend what we recommend. And a lot of the times it's because we've had the same headaches and different things that we've seen happen, and we want to keep you guys from having those headaches, and we don't want to have them either. So that's a big part of it. So hey, Chuck, Lou, thank you so much for the love and the thumbs up. If anybody else that's listening to this has any inclination to give us a like or a heart, that would be awesome. We always appreciate everybody here. We're right at 30 minutes too, Carter. That was quick.
Good deal.
Wow. I have to save some of my other stuff for next time. Yeah. So, hey, have a very Merry Christmas. I hope everybody here gets to take some time, get a little downtime, spend with your family, or you can do what I'm prepared to do, which y'all will probably laugh at this. I'm prepared to kind of work a little bit over the holidays because during Christmas and New Year and all that kind of time, nobody bothers me, and I got some big projects I got to get done. So my wife and I are both working on projects, so it helps. I'm just saying it helps. I will stop and have a call with my kids and family and dad and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not being a Scrooge. I'm just spending Christmas the way I want to spend Christmas. It's Merry Christmas to me. I get to get some things done without anybody bothering me. How you like that?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. Not trying to, upset an apple cart now. But I do want you guys to have a Merry Christmas. Y'all been working your tails off, and I know that. So yeah, that's awesome.
I
Is
hope
it?
you have a Merry Christmas, man. I'm sure I'll talk to you, but
Oh yeah, I'll have a Merry Christmas. I'm gonna sleep in, and we're having chicken and waffles for breakfast. So I'm
nice.
just curious. Does anybody else want to share any Christmas like holiday spirit thing special that you're gonna do? I mean, we're having chicken and waffles, and I'm actually making homemade soup tomorrow. My chicken vegetable soup. So
Mm.
yeah, we have some traditions around here.
We're doing it's just a small family Christmas this year. My family doesn't get here until after the new year, and then it'll be crazy. But I just found out yesterday that we're going to have 14 people at our house.
Are they all
They
sleeping there?
they won't all be sleeping here. Some of them will be at my mom's house just a mile down the road. But yeah, we're going to be packed to the gills for a couple of days. It's going to be interesting, but it'll be fun too. I'm glad that everybody's getting to come. So, but yeah, we're just doing rib roast, standing rib roast, and mashed potatoes, I think, and maybe something green. So,
Here we go. Little crab cake and crab soup.
mm,
Annapolis in there. All right. Oh, here we go. It's going to be 80 degrees. We'll probably do a walk on the beach. Well, Terry, I'm going to be thinking about you because I think we're going to wake up tomorrow on Christmas Eve. Is tomorrow Christmas Eve or is it Saturday? I don't even
Saturday,
know. Well,
Saturday,
tomorrow it's supposed to be 1 degree is the high
8 in
tomorrow.
the morning. It's 7 or 8 in the morning. It's supposed to be 1 degree.
Yeah, so I'll be thinking about you on Christmas Day. I think the high Maryland said is 21 here.
Wow,
Yeah.
it'll
And
be
then
fun.
hold on. I'm having my whole family over to tailgate Eagles Dallas on Christmas Eve and blow up some eggs. Hey man, Lou, I'm what about those Eagles? I want to know is Jalen Hurts gonna play? Do you know? Have you heard? I keep seeing he's out. Is that what does that mean? Oh, Lou, I'll be thinking about you. I'm gonna be rooting for the Eagles. No, I don't know what that means. No, I can't root for
He's
the
not playing.
Eagles. He's not playing.
Jalen's not playing.
Jalen's not playing. Well, I hope you win anyway. He's a good leader. Good leader. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Again, have a great Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. And we will see you. We're not going to have a show next week either. Our whole office is closed next week, so I'm not scheduling anything, and we'll see you first week of January.
In the new
All right.
year.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas. Happy New Year.
Bye bye.